Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 32 of overcoming my ankle injury, and today we are going full Mike Menzer style. Which, if you don't know, Mike Menzer is a bodybuilder from somewhere in the 70s, I believe, and his approach was completely different and the opposite of all of the other bodybuilders, their approach. Everyone was doing a lot of volume and lots of sets and reps, and Mike Menzer was advocating for basically one intense set. You're only doing one set, but you're doing it with all your power, with all of your intensity. You completely go to failure and even beyond. And whether it's the best method for bodybuilding, I don't know. But what I do know is that it gives me some good result in the strength department. It's definitely not the best method to become stronger. If so, then well, everyone would be doing it. But it's a very efficient way to get a lot of gains anyway, right? So even if you don't have a lot of time, you can just do one set all out every week and still get some good gains. That's what I've been doing as of late. And on top of that, because I'm only doing one set every week, I still have lots of other energy to spend on my main goal, healing the injury and becoming good at running again. So I quite like this approach, but it's very important, it's only one set, so it's very important to give it your all, because once it's said and done, right? Once, after this talk, I am done with that set, I don't get to go again for another week. And that's the downside of it. And well, especially if you love training, that's the downside. But once again, it's a very efficient approach and it will get you good results. So today, that's what I'm going to be doing. Of course, I'm going to warm up first. Those sets don't count, but then it's going all out. It's and it's always very stressful because you're going to be in a lot of pain. But anyway, yeah, you will see how it looks like. Ah, hell, I'm feeling weak today. Well, it's only one set, so even if it sucks, it will be over quickly. But let's give it a roll. Okie dokie, so I want to explain something about the one set method, which actually I failed to do today. So if you notice the set I'm doing right now, I'm using some momentum, right? I'm kind of ego lifting, and I am not against ego lifting, but when it comes to this one set method, especially if you're only doing it once a week, you basically have one chance to adapt to a movement every week. That's not a lot, right? Usually you train perhaps one body part twice a week and you do perhaps 4 or 5 or even 8 or 10 or 12 sets, right? Or even more. Some people do more, right? So you have all of these chances to adapt to a movement, but in the case of the one set method, you don't have those. And that's why I feel it's very important to control the movement. And so this time I did weighted Nordic roll and I got 9 reps. That's fine. That's stronger than last time, even though I was weaker. Well, I cheated a little bit by, taking rest in between the reps. But anyway, right? I'm making some progress, but I feel like what I'm missing in these sets is the control at the bottom of the rep. And if I don't control the position at the bottom, right, that's where the muscle burns, right? I feel like in these sets, what's really important that you should aim for is not, well, of course, you want to become stronger, but at the end of your set, your muscles should be burning like crazy. And after the main Nordic rolls, I started doing some assisted variation as well, right? Like kind of in the drop set style, and I started slowing down at the bottom and really trying to put out as much power in that range of motion as possible. And that's where the muscle burn started. So when you're doing this for yourself, make sure that you actually feel the burn in the muscle instead of sacrificing form and well, ego lifting like I did today. All right. So definitely weaker than last time, but I cheated a little bit. I took a rest pause, like a quick pause in between each rep instead of doing them right after each other. And well, I got 9 reps. So very happy with that result. And the goal of this set, you're only doing one set, but the goal with that set is to basically give yourself muscle soreness for at least a couple days, because you're doing this once a week. If you are sore for 3 or 4 days, no problem. You still have 2 other days or 3 other days where basically you're recovering to 100%. And so let's turn it around a little bit. If you don't feel sore the next day, that's a problem. You're not going intense enough. You're not shocking your system. Try to be at least sore for a couple days when you're doing this. I know for sure I'm gonna be feeling this set tomorrow, and that's the entire point. You're gonna try and accumulate as much damage in this one set that you would normally in an entire workout. So you better make it intense. That's the entire point. If you don't do your set intensely, the one set method is never gonna work for you. So you should be nervous for sets like this. That's all I'm trying to say. But anyway, that's gonna be it for today's workout. One set and one set only. Of course, I did some planche push-ups. I did some squats this morning, but I don't really count that as part of the workout. It's just my daily duty. So when it comes to the actual main workout, one set, and I'm very happy with how it went. So I'll see you next week for probably the same workout, but hopefully a little bit stronger. All right, I'm gonna head downstairs, prepare some dinner, and I'll see you tomorrow for a very light push day.